Раз, раз.
А камеру отключи.
Она включена. Отключить.
Отключить.
Так, сейчас сразу запустим. Векторы. Так, так, так.
Погоди, пока рано LinkedIn. У нас же 10 минут еще. Ты пока убедись, что ты видишь, куда нажимать для трансляции.
Да. Слайды с вопросами.
А стартовый слайд готов?
Секунду. Так, а слайды мы, получается, рост моей копии не используем, да, слайды?
Нет,
Вот,
стартовый просто
площадь. Ага. Мгм. Большое. Хотел сделать, чтобы я делюсь, видно? Алло.
Hey, okay.
Hey Nikita, how are you?
Doing well. Uh, okay. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I hear you.
Nice. Okay, Wes, thanks for coming. We are waiting for a couple more minutes, uh, like for a couple more people to join, and then we can start. The last time, most of the people were listening us on LinkedIn, so more than half of like all the people who participated in the webinar were from the LinkedIn. So we probably won't see them here in this chat. Um, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah, people hopping in.
Mm. And Wes, where are you based out of?
Nashville, Tennessee,
Nice.
so down in the
Nice.
South. So
That's
hopefully
cool.
my accent doesn't get in the way.
Oh, hopefully mine won't lead us into any troubles. Hmm. I had a like I had a couple funny stories uh, with my Spanish accent when
Oh
I
yeah, I'm
yeah
sure.
said something wrong, but I didn't know that. That was funny. Usually my daughter, she corrects me when every time I say something wrong in Spanish.
Oh yeah. Yeah, kids are good at that.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, I think we can start. Maybe more people will join us later. So Wes, thanks for coming. Um, uh, we have a few questions for you. Maybe
Sure.
you have something to share with us, but can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me. So I'm Wes Foster. I've run digital marketing agencies since 2008. So, yes, there was internet back then. Um, but it's kind of grew my agency. Actually, I started out as a like a web development agency, just doing small one-off projects here and there. Built up a small team for in about 2 years' time. Um, I needed a break, so I went and joined the Army, and then so I joined the U.S. Army, ran my business from the Army from Afghanistan, did that whole thing. Um,
Insane. That's insane.
yeah, yeah, it was tricky. You know, anytime I would get a 15-minute phone call basically every 3 or 4 weeks because we're just kind of out in the middle of Afghanistan. So real quickly, I'd call the team, see how things were going, call my wife, see how things were going. And the team kind of had to run the business for me. But there wasn't a lot of growth through that stage. Obviously, it was just kind of in maintenance mode. Um, got back stateside, finished my time in the Army, got out, went straight back into business. Um, switched over to building SaaS. So my background's in software development, so we started building SaaS for startups and things like that. Um, time went on, it became very hard to scale SaaS companies, but since we were doing a lot of marketing anyway for investors, we shifted over to marketing in around 2016, and we've been doing full service marketing ever since then. Um, in that time, it wasn't until um, It wasn't until probably about 2020 or so that we started aggressively trying to grow the business and yeah, cold email was a big part of that.
Insane. That's insane. And uh, can you give us a sense of like how many clients did you land with cold email?
With cold email, since we started doing it aggressively like 4 years ago, I would say for ourselves, maybe 60 to 80 clients or so, mainly targeting in the B2B space, for the consulting and also the B2C space, home services on the agency side. Um, yeah, very, very high quality leads that we've been able to pull in, especially compared to something like running ads. Um, Ads will bring
Yeah,
in a
60,
lot of
60 deals, it's no joke. And what's the average contract size was for those deals?
minimum 2,500 bucks a month. That would be
Okay.
minimum. But we have some clients that are over 10K a month with revenue share and
Mhm.
email. We've not been able to get those types of deals outside of email outreach to get those 5 figure a month plus revenue share deals. That's why we love cold email so much. It really allows
Oh,
you to
nice.
connect within the B2B space, especially with decision makers and start real relationships and big sales cycles.
That's insane. So, like with cold email, you were able to land clients that are bigger than you would have land with ads. That's
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
very interesting. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, cold email is very
And then,
powerful once you crack the code, but it takes a lot of trial and error and understanding all the elements of it, not just the infrastructure, but the positioning and the offers and all of that. So a lot that goes into it.
okay. And what would be like, what advice would it, like, imagine we have here like agency owners who wants to make their agencies more profitable with cold email. Maybe they already doing, maybe they just starting out, maybe they never did it before. Um, what type of advice you like, or maybe like, I don't know, step-by-step process you could share with them so that they could grow their agency with that.
That's a pretty deep question, right? There's agencies making zero and there's agencies making 500K a month. So the answer would be kind of different. Um, I talk with agency owners all the time who have that same goal. They want to grow with cold email. The biggest thing that I could recommend with cold email is to, hmm, it's a good question. The biggest thing, not scripting. It's not, there's no magic script. I think the biggest thing, if an agency wants to grow, they need to be constantly focusing on sales. I call them RGAs, revenue generating activities. That has to be a daily non-negotiable. You have to be very fast whenever a lead is ready. You can't call them the next day, and you can't call them just once. You have to have a very strong lead handling process. And if you want to become extremely profitable, you need to learn how to not only use cold email to generate leads, but you also need to learn how to sell cold email as a service. And this is where our big 5 figure revenue share deals come in, is we're not just doing SEO and website design and all these marketing things for those clients. We're doing outreach for them. We're doing their cold email. Um, so they can land the big deals just like we've landed ourselves. So cold email is twofold. You can make money by generating leads, but you can also make money by selling it as a service to bigger clients.
Yeah, that's true. We have like in our even in our community, we have I know for sure a lot of lead gen agencies that are very successful with this. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most um,
Yeah. Yeah, typically it's just a business. It doesn't have to be an agency. Typically you're either an agency generating leads for yourself or you're a non-agency generating leads for yourself. But the hidden secret in between those things is selling it as a service. And there's a lot of money to be made in doing that, especially with Maildoso, because instantly scalable compared to the old methods of setting up email, years ago with like GMass and manually setting up all of these accounts. Like it was insane. We'd have 3 or 4 VAs constantly just running that process, like setting up fake phone numbers so they can set up fake emails. Like it was a mess. So it's becoming much, much more scalable today, as you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And okay, so we have a very interesting question in the chat. So, do you have any tips for scaling SaaS demos through cold emails? Or, it's kind of two questions. Or is this webinar just for lead gen agencies? Um, uh,
So, so we worked in SaaS. So when we would do SaaS marketing back in 2015, we didn't do a whole lot of cold email then. Um, but we've worked with SaaS companies before, and really it just boils down to you have to have good targeting and you have to have a good offer. What I
yeah,
always tell when I'm working with an agency or when I'm selling cold email services, like a done for you service, I always tell them that will we be able to get in front of your target audience? Yes, 100%. We can get your offer in front of your target audience. Absolutely. Whether or not it's good enough or it piques their interest or they want to move forward is kind of out of our control. But that's why I love cold email because you can absolutely take your SaaS product and your offer and get it in front of the people who could use it. Now it's just a matter of is your email interesting enough for them to raise their hand and say yes? That's the tricky part. And it's I don't have any magic scripts if that's what you're asking, but shorter emails are better. I'll tell you that.
yeah, 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 that's for sure. And also with for sure, you can use cold email to get a lot of demos for your SaaS software.
For sure.
And yeah, the thing that would like the biggest the biggest thing that anyone would need to address um, the first is like as you said, offer. That's why we recommend and we do this ourselves when we launch something new, new product, new sub product. We go to a new audience. We usually start with like 10, 15 different offers, and then we just find something that works the best, and then we scale it. Sometimes it might require a lot more experimentation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why um, email and ads are perfect for testing offers because especially
Yeah.
with email. Well, it's, with email, you can instantly be someone else. You can be a different company. You set up new accounts. You can send it to the same audience, and they're not hearing from the same person. They're hearing from someone else, but you're testing that offer. We do that all the time. And yeah, you just instead of assuming what the market wants, you just sell what the market wants.
Yeah. Like I also we have a one more question. Like, have you ever considered offering lead generation as a service on a performance based? Um, the idea would be you to generate leads and then share them with agencies, allowing them to close the deals while both you share the revenue. Because one of the challenges with selling this service to customers is the upfront costs involved.
Yeah. Well, the upfront costs are negligible and negotiable. It's not as expensive as it once was to set up email infrastructure. Um, the time and money goes into actually like the sales process. And we've done that before. We've done a pay as you close, and we've also done a pay per lead model.
Mhm.
And it typically doesn't work out unless the client has a rock star sales team because everyone sucks at closing deals. So I'm not gonna, we're not gonna come in and do a done for you service pay per close, although we've done it. Um, if we can't count on you to close at least 30% of the deals that come through. So we do that only on a case by case basis. We've even had a client to where we've done a pay per close and they're good at closing, but then we have to chase them for 6 months to actually pay us. So it's it's a good model because it's low risk, but you got to be prepared for it to not work out as smoothly as you think it would.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Mm. There is also one. Yeah, it's going to be a Legion model, but I'm curious, what's your thoughts on this? I usually recommend it to Legion agencies because, from my perspective, it works the best.
Mhm.
Like when you like typically most of the agencies that I see, they don't have focus in specific niches, so they go and like take any type of client they that reply to them, and because of that the complexity increase.
Yeah.
That what I often recommend for agencies is to pick up a niche that is scalable, that has a giant target audience, and then you can just buy domains. You figure out the offers, and then you can land customers in that niche. You can have like 5, 10, 20, 30 customers in that niche,
Mhm.
and you just basically share leads with them. um, what's your thoughts on that model?
On the share leads model specifically, or just the idea around niching and all of that?
Around niching, yeah, yeah, so that you
Okay.
focus on one specific or maybe two specific niches and you just go on after them.
Um, I mean, it works for sure. I didn't take that approach because I started so long ago, and that's one reason why the first 10 years of running the agency was very slow growth, and it was because we did everything for everyone. So with me being a software systems guy, like everything was very modular in how we offered. It's like very like pick from the menu, we build a custom plan, and that's fun, but it's not super profitable because it wasn't charging enough. And you have to hire advanced team members who can think critically and problem solve and troubleshoot and all of these different things. So niching down is for sure the fastest way to start and scale. Um, but what I'm saying is because the market is getting ultra sophisticated, it's not enough to just niche down into, let's say, plumbers, for example, or roofers
Mhm.
or whatever. You have to find a sub niche inside of that if you um, really want to speed up your results. And how I like to think of it is like transition. So if you can target roofers that are at 500K a year and help them transition to millionaire roofers, that's an awesome niche. Not just roofers, because, and I was on a call early just before this with someone in the remodeling space, and they said that their target was remodelers at 500K to 5 million. And I'm like, that's three different niches essentially, because they're not going to have the same problems at 500K that they will at 5 million. But yeah, the whole one niche, one service, one system kind of approach is super scalable. Um, but as you get bigger, if you want bigger retention and you want more profit, you need to diversify eventually, but not at first.
Okay, all right, I like that. And what about personalization of cold emails? We're probably going to have a lot of questions about cold emails specifically today, but
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
okay. Does it make sense to uh, like personalize less and send thousands of emails of more specific copy and send on a few hundred emails? If I understand correctly, it's like whether like on which side you are, like send thousands of generic cold emails or fewer but personalized ones.
Um, you can do both, Yeah, you can do both. You can send thousands of personalized
Yeah.
ones. You don't have to send thousands of generic. Obviously, the more personalized, the better. If you want to get hyper specific, then I mean that's a strategy I recommend to agencies is like, hey, take 30 or take 50 of your ideal prospects. I mean, perfect. Their Google reviews is this, their hair is this color, like whatever it is, like it's perfect. And you can manually reach out to those people and you can send them stuff in the mail, but you don't want to do that for 10,000 people, obviously. I like to personalize at scale and save anything more than that for just a very, very small list.
Okay. We have a question from Nick. You've said that your clients ranged in the pricing from 2,500 per month or to over $10,000 per month. Can you give us an idea on what of the service packages you've sold included each price point? Also, what did your cold email as a service campaign look like for onboarding clients?
Hmm. This, when there's questions like this, I automatically think that I think of it as getting in the weeds. Because I know me, when I ask questions like that, I'm not going to do anything with it. So I try not to get too deep. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm asking like about packages and pricing, I call that information hoarding, you know?
Mhm.
But I'll try to make it, I guess, as helpful as I can. Roughly, um, my agency, we offer full marketing, full service marketing. It's website, SEO, and ads, like the trifecta, the big three. That's typically the lower end, like the 2,500 a month to 5,000 a month, which includes ad spend. That's kind of like the base package. Anything above that is more in the B2B space. That's when we're doing those services, but we're also doing outbound through multiple different channels, including cold email. And maybe we implement automation and things like that as well. Um, and sales enablement, like the whole thing. We kind of become business consultants at that point and at that level, where we want to make sure that we can get them quality leads, but also that they can close those and get the most money possible. Because when they make more revenue, we make more revenue in those types of deals. Um, but hopefully that answers the question. It's kind of think of it as digital marketing, digital marketing plus outbound, and then plus automation and consulting at that point. Those are like the three big areas I would say.
Okay. So you package them depending on the client, what their needs.
Yeah, it's usually one of those three packages, I would say. The price point is what varies. We don't have a specific price point for each because their ad spend is going to vary, how much support they need, and the sales process is going to vary, etc. So there's little things like that that dictate the price plus the revenue share.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. And among your clients, like I know you consult agencies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And among your clients, what do you typically see like works the best? Is it like for specifically for like lead gen? Is it like retainer model, pay per lead, pay per appointment, pay revenue share? What works the best?
So everything we do is retainer from the for the most part. It's retainer. Um, some like there's some weird like we have this one agency, they work with lawyers and they do packages of leads basically and they sell it that way. There's different ways to do it, but the majority is retainer and if possible to get as much money up front. So if normally you would charge, let's say $2,000 a month, try to sell a $5,000 package that covers, you know, the first 3 months and then move to recurring. And there's strategy behind that, mainly so you can reinvest in yourself and continue to get more clients. But yeah, typically it's always recurring and always retainer.
And why is that? Because like I know that most of the money are in the when you sell leads because you can bring like you know much more leads.
Sure.
Why retainers are better?
Um, I like retainers because I guess just because of how I've built the agency. My whole idea behind the agency is high profit, low stress, right? Position yourself for profitability, have efficient systems, have solid acquisition systems, and base everything on KPIs. Like that's like kind of like our four big pillars. And when you have clients that pay you recurring every single month for services and you hit seven figures recurring, it's really easy to have a team run that for you. As what I found, it's really easy at that point to kind of take your hands off the wheel and let the company become a cash cow that you can reinvest into other areas that you want to do with your entrepreneurial life. I do like the leads model, but for me, it's very clients can leave in an instant. It's not as much of a high retention business model compared to retainers. So that's why I like retainers, long contracts, and things like that. It's just that ease of running the company
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I see. That's totally true. And that's a good point. Uh, and can you share, we have a couple more questions. Can you share a little bit of strategies on how you retain clients, lead gen clients specifically?
how
Um,
we retain them. Is that what you said?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like,
Um, so let's see. There's sexy answers and then there's not sexy answers, right? The not sexy answer is really the relationship with the client. That's the biggest thing. Not every client is going to have the best month when they work with you. We've had clients that have multiple months where it's just going down, 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 but they stay with us. We've had clients that stayed with us for more than 10 years and they've not had the best year or month in that time frame. The biggest thing when you're working with your clients is they need to feel like when a problem comes up, it's not you, but rather you and the client working together to solve it. That's the biggest thing. If you can position yourself as a partner with your clients, that makes all the difference when, when things are good or bad. That's the not sexy answer because it takes time and it takes intentionality. Um, so outside of that, good results is how you retain. You have to have good
okay.
results. That's you can't really get around that. Um, but yeah, you can sometimes retain the client even if you have the relationship. One more thing I would add, it kind of goes, this is one I mentioned earlier about diversifying your services, not just being a one-trick pony. One-trick pony is good for scaling initially, but if you want your clients to stay, you have to become a partner, a true like problem solver. And you can't solve all their problems just doing cold email or just doing Facebook ads or whatever. Uh, it's good to solve multiple problems because then it becomes harder to replace you at that point. So that's also a retention strategy, but that's further down the line in the agency
Yeah, that's true. I can tell, like, we work with a few agencies, and for us, sometimes it's easier to, like, guys, can you do this also? Than just,
Yeah, for
go and,
sure.
like, find a new partner. We already, like to work with those guys, if they just diversify their portfolio of products, of services that they offer. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
work for us.
Yeah.
Even though they have little to no experience in those areas, we're fine with that, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you already have the trust there with them. And even if it goes bad, it's a lot easier to just say, okay, we'll go find someone rather than go through that process from the start.
Yeah, 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 that's true. That's a good point. So like the more services agency offers, the better for
For
the
sure.
from the
Yeah. Especially if you manage their website, because even during COVID, we would have clients that would cancel ads, they would cancel SEO, but they would not cancel their website. So
Mm,
that's a really strong retention play. Before that, we would do email management as a service. We would like through G Suite and all of that. that is not recommended. That's a pain. But it's a very sticky product because they're not going to turn it off.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. And so I imagine you've seen a lot of cold email campaigns in the SEO space.
Yeah.
So one of our listeners is asking, could you share some insights on like what the good positive reply rates you can get in that niche? I actually
With
remember with SEO and
okay, good.
with cold email pitching SEO services. I actually, and I will add one more question for you. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Wes, do you remember this? One of our community members in the Roast My Copy in the Slack community, she shared her her idea on. Um, cold email campaign for SEO services. I'm curious if you ever tried this one. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, like when the Slack community first started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact wording, but it was I remember it
I
was
can find
clever.
it. I saved it. Let me.
Yeah, I remember it was pretty
Okay.
clever. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, while you're looking for that, yeah. So with SEO, for pitching SEO services, I find it's one of the easiest ones to do because you can, I mean, you don't even have to put in real numbers, but you know the search volume for keywords in a particular area, even if it's a very, very big area, for the purposes of mass email. Like if you're doing SEO for lawyers, you can say, hey, there's 200 to 300 people searching for divorce lawyer in New York City, and I want to get you in front of them. Like, first off, lawyers are very competitive, but having SEO data in the pitch is huge because those are actual people looking for the actual service that they provide in that city. So that's really impactful. As far as reply rates, I always just say anywhere 1 to 5%. That's like a big range. But anything 1 to 5% is within acceptable standards. Obviously, if it's at 1 or 2%, we want to get it higher. But pitching SEO services is probably one of the easiest types of services to pitch. Um, One, maybe because most people are pitching Facebook ads. So anytime you can pitch something besides Facebook ads, it's helpful. But positioning it as a like think of the competitiveness of the recipient, not just say, hey, we want to get you number one. Just say, hey, there are this many people looking right now in this area, and I can get you in front of them. That's always been an effective way to position SEO campaigns for me.
Nice. Yeah, I like that example.
That's interesting, brother. Thank you.
I also found this email. Let me share it. Can you see my screen? Like this email? Play. It was a very clever approach on like how you can pitch SEO services. Maybe not the best, but I can easily imagine like good reply rates on this one.
Yeah, so there's clever ways to do it like that. Reply rates are good, but your sales judo has to be really good at that point. The
Yeah.
same with doing like DM outreach. Like there's ways to get them to say yes. There's ways to get them to reply, especially if you're acting as a customer or something. But you have to be able to skirt and balance that line very well on the sales process side because um, you don't want them to feel like they were tricked. You know, this email is good because it does feel like a solicitation at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. The only thing wrong with this is, would it be all right to send you some quick info with ranking with Google? I mean, they get things like that all the time in email. It doesn't speak to their pain points. It's just throwing in keywords like Google and SEO and number one. Like, that's the only bad thing about this copy. If you did that opening line, which is awesome, and then the second part saying something more specific to their problems or their pain point, it could work pretty
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah. Yeah, you can mention like how many people looking for their services in their area, and you
Yeah, it's
can,
like I can't find your number. These other 400 people that are searching every month probably can't find it either. Let me show you how to fix it.
yeah, yeah, and like, yeah, I agree.
It's like who
Yeah,
who
but
wouldn't who wouldn't want to get that fixed, you know?
mhm, yeah. So yeah, but it can be good a starting point, but it's definitely a very cold email. I would try it if you on this call and you're selling SEO services, just
Yeah.
please like share with me results. I'm eager to know how would this one perform.
Yeah. Try it. And don't, yeah, testing. Like marketing is all about testing. I've spent a lot of time wasted trying to come up with the perfect script or the perfect product, and then you finally get it done and you put it out in the open and it flops. Like that happens all the time. It's better to just pick something, go, and then pivot and go, and then pivot and go.
Okay, nice. And then I have a couple more questions for you. So this one is interesting. Uh, what would you prefer? One, um, not so simple client, but with a big budget, or three more, like easier clients, but with, lower budgets.
Yeah. So the best answer is in the middle, but that's not an option.
Okay.
Um, I would prefer if I had to only choose between clients paying 10K a month and fewer of those versus many clients paying $100 a month. Um, I would probably choose the bigger clients only because you can squeeze a lot more profit out of a 10K client. You can squeeze a lot of profit. You can hire a team and you can reinvest into cold email and ads. Like you can do all that stuff if you have the money. If you're going after $100 a month, like let's say tiny clients, even if you're at 80% profit, you're only making $80 a month per per client that you have. So if I could snap my fingers and have the whole growth part of it gone, then I would prefer to have the smaller clients because if 10 clients leave, you don't feel it. Whereas if you have 10K clients and a couple of those leave, you feel it. It's just as far as growing goes, I like the bigger clients. Um,
Okay.
yeah, easier
I
sales
agree. And
process,
also
really.
it's easier to upsell probably, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, easier to upsell, easier conversations. You know, a lot of the times agencies, um, they'll say, Wes, I'm not doing good at my sales, or these clients are wanting to churn, or I told my client my pricing, and he told me I was a scam artist, like all these, and he's like, and I'm not even charging enough, and they're telling me that I'm trying to rip them off, and the problem is that they're just going after too small of a client. Like before
yeah,
you can
yeah,
sell a
that's true.
client on SEO or ads or email, you have to sell them on marketing their business. So if you're talking to a business owner and they don't even want to put $500 into Facebook ads, they're definitely not going to pay you to also run it for them. So targeting those bigger clients, they've already been through the ringer. They've already lost a lot of money in their business. They understand that they have to invest to grow. And when you talk to them, there's no, you're not arguing over $50 a day on Facebook ads. They're already spending that. Now you just have to sell yourself. That's one of the biggest things is pay close attention to who you're trying to sell to and who you actually want to sell to. Because you may not suck as bad as you think. You're just talking to the wrong crowd.
Yeah, that's true. We're also seeing the quite similar thing is that like we have quite a few customers that trying to uh, get as better deal as possible on the smallest plans that we have. And we also have, customers that
Oh
just
yeah.
to start, they peak like, okay, like 8,000 mailboxes. Let me
Yeah.
test you guys. Can you send me a
Yeah.
quote for 1,000 mailboxes? This is just to start.
Yeah. And I see that in like I see that everywhere, just like you do. And what's funny is the agencies that complain about their prospects and their clients being cheap, the agencies are the same way. Like the agency
Mhm.
is trying to sell their client to spend 2,500 bucks a month on ads when the agency is spending zero on marketing because it might not work. Like they come up with the same excuses that their clients come up with. Um, yeah, you need to invest in yourself. You need to sell yourself on what you're selling the clients. That's huge.
Yeah. And what's your um mm, and what's the like top of the uh, mistakes that 90% of agencies make based on what you see?
There's a ton. Um, you don't niche, which we kind of talked about that already. Like you're trying to do everything for everyone. It doesn't cut it. The second big mistake is you don't reinvest into your own agency. You get a client and you want to kind of keep that money for yourself. Well, you need to focus on getting the next client. The third biggest mistake we also mentioned at the very beginning was RGAs, revenue generating activities. A lot of business
Mhm.
owners, myself included, are really good at playing defense. They're good at operations and retention, but they are trash at getting new clients. Like you have to lean in to offense and grow in the business. It will not grow itself. Um, if you're not good at that, get a partner or get someone who is because you have to stay on offense. And a lot of companies only play defense. On the opposite side, a lot of agencies only play offense. They're really good at sales and marketing, but they cannot retain a client for more than 2 or 3 months because they suck at defense. So it's a balance, but you can't play defense without offense. So you got to play offense. You have to be aggressive and take risks.
Yeah, I think from that perspective, it's actually also a beneficial because like so many agency clients you consult, so you see, if somebody is playing too hard on
Oh
offense
yeah.
or on defense,
You
you
can,
can help them partner. Yeah, like
yeah,
you definitely guys would work together and like be a much stronger team and get more
for
profits if
sure.
you just
That's
partner up.
probably one of the biggest advantages of the mastermind that we have is just the connections. Like you got a guy who sucks at defense, guy who sucks at offense, right? They partner together and now they're an awesome team and they make just tons and tons of money. It happens all the time.
Yeah. And can you tell us more about your mastermind?
Yeah,
Maybe I can
so
join, even though I'm not an agency, but I'm curious.
yeah. So the mastermind is just that. It's a mastermind of agencies who want to focus on high stress or not high stress, high profit, low stress, long-term clients. Like for me, in my opinion, it's taken forever. I think people can do it faster, but I built the peak agency. The peak agency is it's a cash cow. It just kind of runs itself. It does its own thing. It's it allows me to fulfill other areas that I want to do in the business, which for me right now is consulting and coaching other agencies. I enjoy that. I love it. The agency still runs and it does its own thing. So there is the SMMA crowd, which I know a lot of people in the SMMA crowd who made tons of money. Um, they made like 150, $200,000 a month 1 year. They're on top of the world. And then 6 months later, they can't even sell their business because they have no clients. So there's a huge problem in the industry. So kind of where my consultancy or my coaching program comes into place is like, here's how you can build a sustainable marketing agency that has high profits, low stress, runs itself, and ultimately that's the goal. It allows you to kind of have freedom, your team to have freedom, your clients to have freedom, and that's kind of my take on building agencies, just something that's long term. And the mastermind is just bringing those types of people together and helping each other. And I'm packing it full of a lot of ops related stuff because profit is a key performance indicator, in my opinion. If a business is not profitable, you cannot make an impact. So it's all about having the right dashboards in place, having the right team members in place, watching the right numbers, having solid onboarding and retention process, all of that. So that's kind of the big spiel of what I'm all about and what I'm trying to help agencies do is to build a peak agency.
Nice. I like the idea. Um, okay. And we also have one more question from the chat
Sure.
about like pitching UX and conversion rate optimization services. What's your thoughts on that? If you ever run, if you have any experience with these niches. Uh,
I don't think we've ever led with CRO, but it is an important part of it. We just picked up a client a couple weeks ago, and they're already ranking in a lot of different places. So for us to go in and pitch SEO, it's kind of pointless.
yeah.
But they're not getting any leads to the website. So obviously that middle piece is the missing piece. So we went in it with like a CRO strategy, but we didn't lead with that. We just found that in the auditing process of kind of discovery. So I don't know if I can really help with like pitching CRO on the front end, if that's what the question was about, like an email.
Yeah.
But everything's the same. You just find the pain point, you find what they want, and you try to, you know, bring those two things together. A good one would be like, hey, I noticed that you're ranking number one or number two or whatever. Some personalization. Notice that you're ranking number two in Oklahoma for pest control services. Um, you should be getting at least X number of leads. Like you should be getting at least 45 leads per week or calls coming in for your pest control company. If you're not, it's probably because of XYZ, like specific type of pain point. I would start there and then refine it. But yeah, it's really easy to, and that's the same thing I do with agencies. I'm like, hey, you might be making 150K a month, but how much of that is profit? And they're like 10%, It's like, why would you run this? Why would you want the stress of running a 150K a month agency when you only bring home $15,000? When you could run a 50K a month agency and bring home 30,000, like a lot lower stress at that level, and you can bring home more money. So essentially, that's kind of like CRO, the profitability piece. It's really powerful.
Yeah. But I'm curious. Well, probably because right now we are looking for somebody who's gonna do CRO for us. That's why maybe I'm gonna ask more questions. CRO, it's conversion rate
Oh yeah,
optimization. We one of our marketing strategies. Like we're looking for an agency that's going to handle the CRO part. We want to see, um, conversion rate like experiments on our website every week, running multiple of them because
I see. Yeah. Well, CRO has
and I'm
multiple.
curious. No, go ahead.
Uh,
Sorry to interrupt.
CRO is multiple things. It's not just the website, you know. There's a lot more behind that. The research phase, very few people will go directly to you and buy, right? They're going to do research. So having a good reputation, content in many different places, all of that will eventually lead them to purchase. The website's all about just making sure that decision-making content is there and it's easy to make the decision. But the
But
reputation plays a lot more into CRO than you may think.
yeah, that's a good point. And I'm curious, like there are probably quite a few CRO only agencies on the market.
Yeah,
Do you
usually an
find
e-com.
in e-com space, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Is this like a lucrative niche, or uh, everything is already taken there and it's waste of
Is it a
time
what? Is it
going
a what
after
niche?
like, is it a lucrative niche for an
Oh yeah,
agency?
for sure.
Zero.
Yeah,
Okay.
because your output, like your results, is clear. You know,
Mm-hmm.
CRO is a really good one to go in and do it for free and only get paid per result because the results are clear. It's like, hey, we'll increase your landing page conversions by 25% or you don't pay us anything. Well, if you target someone who's making, $10,000 and you increase it by 2,500 bucks, say, hey, you give us 2,500 bucks, that one time. It's really easy to tie revenue share into that because the numbers are clear. Yeah, very lucrative.
Yeah. Yeah, and also it's easy to like justify like these costs, and you can make a variable in your um in your model, so you can add like, I don't know, some percentage for, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, we have a client that does they do signs, like signs for businesses, and they sell these things called EMCs, electronic message centers or something, but big digital signs outside of
Okay.
businesses. Those things like $50,000 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we're running a campaign. We just started this. We're running a campaign to where we're reaching out to businesses to sell EMCs, and we
Mm-hmm.
already do these other services for this client. So we went into this just like a pay per lead type of deal, like a rev share. Like, hey, if we can bring you a $50,000 sign and you close that, we want 20%. So it works out to be, 10K that we would get per sale, but only if we get the sale. And it's extremely profitable. I mean, we just started it. But even if we do outreach for an entire year and get nothing, we're really not out that much. You know, the amount reach is very cheap. Like you can do a lot
Yeah.
for low cost. So if we got him one deal, he's ecstatic. Plus also we just made insane profit. And that's if we only got one. Um, yeah. I like things that you tie to the result, like rev share or CRO,
Mm-hmm.
because like you
Mm-hmm.
said, really easy to justify paying us $10,000 to get him that one deal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And also, uh, like, I have probably a personal question.
Sure,
Do
that's
you
fine.
give, like, sometimes, maybe ever, have you ever give clients offensive nicknames? Especially to those that you don't really like.
Offensive nicknames.
Yeah.
Um, there's not a lot of clients that I despise, but yeah, we refer to them as certain things. Just because we don't like them. It's
Okay.
actually I think that's pretty
Okay.
normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, some
I
people,
was
some are
just
just a
curious.
pain. Fortunately, we at the end of each year we cut clients for that reason. It's like we trim
Oh,
the
really?
fat.
Interesting.
Yeah, we trim the fat, and it's good and bad. Sometimes we made a bad cut. Sometimes, a lot of times I feel like we make good cuts, but it's just to free up the team so we can focus on the
Mm-hmm.
clients that are making us the most money and that we're impacting the most. Some clients are headaches and they don't last very long.
Okay. How does that work? Can you share a little bit on this process? I'd never heard about this one, but
So in our client tracker, one of the things we track is how easy they are to work with.
okay.
So that's a clear, and it's subjective. It's up to the account manager to pick like red, yellow, or green. We look at the
Yeah.
ones in the red. Why are they difficult to work with? And it's usually the ones that are paying the least, like they're paying the
Mhm.
least amount of money, and they're the most needy. It's typically
Okay.
always that combination. That's why working with small versus or small versus big clients, there's a big difference. The small ones, they watch their money like a hawk, and everything that you do, they try to tell you how to do it better. In the beginning of your business, like you can't avoid it too much. Like when you're growing aggressively, you have to suck up a lot. It's just the name of the game. You just got to do it. But eventually you get to the point where you can say, I'm not working with you. And I even say that if I'm ever brought in on a sales call, I'm like, listen, we're looking for partners. We're looking for people that we can work with long term. Um, we've already made our 7 figures. We don't want to, like, we don't need another client. Like, I want to work with you because XYZ. And that's that's the beauty of being in this position. But you're not there when you're starting the agency or when you're trying to grow it and you're just like grinding.
Mhm.
But that should ultimately be the goal, to only work with the people you want to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only possible when you have like when you reached the revenue goals and you
Yeah. Or if you
optimize
have an
for
account manager,
profitability.
once you get an
Oh
account
yeah.
manager, you're just like, I don't have to deal with it. You know, like
And
that's the
and
account
probably
manager's
a
job.
sales team.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, the sales team, they only have to deal with it for a little bit, but the account manager's got to deal with it recurring. So, um, yeah, once you get to that point, it's a game changer because now you can bring on clients and not have to worry about it too much. You pay your account manager to deal with those issues, but at the end of the year, if it's too much of a drag, or if they're not unprofitable, or if they're not profitable enough, we'll refer them out to another agency. And, hey, I think you'd be
Mhm.
better, suited to work with these people or whatever.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And
if it gets to the
also,
point where we're calling the client names, yeah, that's a sign that they got to go.
yeah, it's a good sign. Unless it's a very profitable client. Another tough one.
Yeah, depends. Wow, I feel like you might have some good nicknames to bring that question up.
This is a question from the chat.
Oh, okay.
And also, somebody is asking about free audits. Um,
Mm,
like, what's your thoughts on offering free audits to bring in customers?
that's a good
For
question.
you know, like
Audits are
they
powerful.
mentioned specifically website design, but maybe the other.
It applies to any audit, I think. Um, and it depends on where you're at in your agency. I've always preferred paid audits. The only time I don't do a paid audit, or at least I can choose not to, is if it's a referral. If a client refers another business to me, then a lot
Mhm,
of times we'll do the audit for free. Outside
mhm,
of that, it's always a paid audit. And we treat it as a project and we put a lot of time and effort into it. Um, but ultimately, it's just a paid stage of the sales cycle.
mhm.
I love it because it positions you as the expert. Um, by the time you get on the sales call, you're not talking with a lead anymore. You're talking with a buyer, which is a totally
Mhm.
different conversation. And at the end of the audit, when you pitch your services, you can just say, hey, if we move forward, what you paid in the audit is credited forward towards this. So it gives them even that little bit of incentive to move forward.
Yeah,
But you will
that's a
you
good
will run
trick.
into
Yeah.
businesses that like this one particular. This guy called me one year and he was a carpet cleaner and they wanted
Mhm.
to do marketing. They found us through Google or whatever. And I said, yeah, we'll do an audit, blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember what we were charging for audits. It might have been like 197 or 297, like somewhere in that range. And he's like, okay, I'll get back with you. Never heard from him, which is fine. A year later, he calls again and he forgot that he called. He couldn't remember but I recognize this guy because I recognize the name and everything. And I'm like, yeah, we do an audit. And when I told him the price of the audit, he's like, why would you charge for an audit? He's like, most agencies will do that for free. I said, well, this is probably the reason why you're calling me 2 years in a row. But he didn't remember calling me the year before. I was like, yeah, most agencies will do it for free, but we're not most agencies. And he's like, okay, I'll think about it. Never worked with him, never heard from him again. But I think of it as I dodged a bullet, you know?
Yeah.
It's always a good feeling when you can go through a sales process and get paid to go through the sales process.
Yeah. That's for sure. Like, I really like the marketing funnels that pay for the, for themselves. Like when you
Oh yeah,
sell something very cheap, like a training course or book or something,
an SLO.
and essentially, yeah, and it's essentially, you sell your inside this training or book, you sell your main service, but then because of the, people already paid for your, marketing, essentially the all the revenue you generate from the course or from the book is going to, back to marketing.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
yeah.
We come up with new offers every 2 weeks and we run SLOs all the time. Self-liquidating offers just for that reason. Just like we're just trying to build a list of buyers
Mhm.
more than just leads because yeah, buyers are
Yeah.
valuable.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And any other tips you want to share with agency owners that wants to build like a big agency as fast as possible?
Yeah, so if you want to build a peak agency as fast as possible, there's a couple things you can, if you're an agency owner and you want to do that. So I have a free Facebook group you can go check out, totally free. I also have a YouTube channel, which is relatively new, um, but I do have a video on there specifically for cold email, and I can just put it in the chat here. Yeah, I mean, or you can just go to wesfoster.com. There's a lot of things on there. I have a weekly newsletter that I send out for kind of like business leaders. Also have the YouTube channel, free Facebook group. There's a paid group as well. That's you can't just get into that. It's the mastermind. Um, but specifically on the YouTube channel, there's a video I put out there last year, which is how we structure our cold emails at a high level, and it still works really well. I'm going to be doing an update on it, but we still follow the same idea of like direct offers and indirect offers. Um, it's some of the information's outdated, like the cost of setting up things, but um, yeah, if you're wanting to run a peak agency, I would recommend getting into the free Facebook group and kind of starting there, and just connecting with me on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those places because this is my sole focus for the year is I want to help agencies generate $10 million in new revenue. And um, yeah, we're on track. It's awesome.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Thank you, Wes. Thank you for coming. It was a very interesting conversation. A lot of insights. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. I love Maildoso. I love the Slack community you put together. I think it's pretty cool. I love the roast section, which is fun. There's actually someone who posted in there today that said, "Hey, roast my copy," but the copy was too long. It was too long to even roast. So let that be the
Yeah.
message. The shorter, the better. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me. If you want to connect, just go to wesfoster.com. And of course, use Meldoso. It's the best. Um, yeah, this has been fun. Maybe we can do it again.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. Um, Thank you. And anyone who wants to uh, follow Wes, we're going to also send links to his YouTube channel and link to his website after the webinar.
Awesome. Appreciate everyone being here and awesome, really good questions. I enjoyed this.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.